Biden, for example, is doubling down, right? He's like, we're still standing next to Israel. We're still doing this. We're still doing this. Here's 14 billion more, please. He's offering. Does he pay the price for that in November? And if he does that forever change the kind of political calculus for Democrats or for any politician? Because up to now, it's been side with Israel, go down swinging with Israel. It's always your best chance politically.
The more cynical side of me thinks that they will stay the course unconditionally because Israel does suit the needs of the American foreign policy interests in the region. However, I do think that the way we approach the Israel conversation is altered dramatically. I think that it will no longer be, as we have seen, the same for the Democratic Party. I don't think that the Democratic Party in future generations, future iterations of it, will offer the same unconditional support that Joe Biden offered to Israel, especially for two reasons. One, obviously, because the constituencies are demanding action in the exact opposite direction that Biden is taking the conversation to. But beyond that, I do think that there has been something that I noticed from the jump since October 8, where there have been calls for restraint from the State Department. So I think there's internal conflict, maybe two different camps, possibly even more. But in the most reductive terms, I think there's two different camps within the State Department right now, where the more realistic State Department actors, not out of care or consideration for Palestinian safety, mind you, but simply for the interest of the continuation of Israel, basically, even as an apartheid state, as a matter of fact, understand that leaving Israel unrestrained was going to inevitably cause too much destabilization. Now, obviously, up to a certain point, that kind of destabilization is great for Raytheon stocks. But once you get to a tipping point, all of a sudden, nobody's making money. And I think that they recognize that. I think that they recognize that, like, Israel striking the consulate compound in Damascus is a massive error from the perspective of someone who is genuinely interested in maintaining the stranglehold that it has over the Middle East. If I'm America, I'm looking at that and I'm going, what the fuck are you guys doing? Right. We have to do something about this. They are going to bring about World War III. They're going to bring about like some kind of nuclear panic here.
So does the U.S., do Democrats from that same cynical logic, do they do themselves a disservice by not just saying, hey, Israel, they got this one wrong?
Yeah, I think so. I think that there isn't, like, a lot of the boundaries are on political lines at this point. I think that obviously the Republicans unconditionally have a lot of skin in the game for both the religious justifications that psychopathic evangelical Protestant churches make, the Armageddon theological justifications that are very important for a significant number of people that also do have outsized political influence in this country, as we saw with the abortion situation. So that's not going to go away. I think that those Republican Party owns that constituency. So they will always be unconditionally and full-blown supportive of Israel, no matter how genocidal they may get. But I do think that the Democratic Party needs to move away from it and back themselves into a more comfortable liberal Zionist narrative. Definitely very different than the way Joe Biden has been handling it. By no means are they going to be anti-Zionist tomorrow. It's not what I'm saying at all. But I do think that they're going to try to retriangulate, especially post-Biden, in the way that they have Kamala Harris talking to Benny Gantz as though he's any better than Benjamin Netanyahu. Yeah, Benny Gantz, who famously ran on his war crimes when he was going up against Benjamin Netanyahu. He was like, no, I'm a war criminal too. Like, shit's awesome. That guy is the reasonable voice in the room, right? And I think that they will try to manipulate Israeli domestic policy to some degree, like the Democratic Party will. They'll try to have the more reasonable approach, but ultimately, I think that it will never look the same as it did before.